This is the Randi Rhodes Show on 960 KNEW and online at 960KNEW.com.
It's all the news that's fit to mutate. It's BS News for this final Monday of April 2013, and away we go. Dateline, dinner out. This weekend, President Obama attended the annual White House Correspondents' Dinner, along with members of the press. The New York Post wasn't there. That doesn't mean they weren't invited. They probably had the facts of when and where it was taking place all wrong. Dateline, mama drama. The mother of the suspected Boston Marathon bomber says that the incident was faked, describing it as, quote, like a really big play. Conspiracy theorists everywhere began searching video of the bombing for images of an anxious-looking David Mamet waiting for an early review. It's in there somewhere, I'm sure. Dateline, a big pile of blank. Texas Senators Ted Cruz and John Cornyn are pushing for federal aid after the deadly fertilizer plant explosion in Texas. Now, both of them voted against emergency relief for Hurricane Sandy victims in the Northeast, proving that even with this plant being destroyed, Texas has no shortage of fertilizer. Texas Governor Rick Perry is demanding an apology for a newspaper cartoon that linked the deadly blast to his policies of deregulation. Now, the paper should have made the point in an editorial. After all, if it was anywhere except in a cartoon, Rick Perry would never have seen it. Dateline, that'll leave a mark. Mark Sanford tried to mock his opponent in a congressional race for not debating him by debating a cardboard cutout of Nancy Pelosi. The stunt didn't help Sanford, no, especially since most observers felt that the cardboard Pelosi won the debate. And finally, Dateline, mistake near the lake. Cleveland Browns linebacker Quentin Groves was arrested for soliciting a prostitute who turned out to be a policewoman. Disheartened Browns fans wrote it off as yet another instance of a Cleveland player being unable to score. Cleveland still rocks, though, and so do we. It's BS News for Monday. Have a great week.
All right. I will. This Saturday afternoon news report freaked me out because I told you so.
We are learning tonight that Russian authorities secretly recorded a phone call in 2011 between Tamerlan Tsarnaev and his mother. In the call, the two spoke about jihad. The U.S. government learned of the wiretap just within the last few days.
Isn't that something? Didn't I tell you that Russia knew about this kid? And I didn't know how. I couldn't figure out how. How is it possible that some kid in Hartford, Connecticut is on the Russian radar screen? Apparently, Tamerlan and Zubaida, crazy lady. Yeah, they're having some overseas conversations with, of course, the way they describe it is that the mother and Tamerlan were having a conversation with somebody who was under surveillance by the Russian government in a matter unrelated. And this is how the Russians first got wind of Tamerlan Tsarnaev and his mother, Zubaida. Crazy lady. I told you, the story seems to be that the father watched the mother get, completely radicalized and crazy and start listening to conspiracy theories on the radio about 9/11. She started getting into it. She started trying to figure stuff out. She started radicalizing herself and making herself hate the United States. She started, delving into her religious background. She started covering up. She took her kids down this bad road. And the father said, my wife's now gone crazy. And quite frankly, I want a divorce. He got a divorce and then suddenly decides that the country he's fleeing for his life from, Dagestan, is the place to be. And I told you that the governor of Dagestan, the governor of Chechnya, these are warlords. These are people handpicked by Putin, and you can't go there unless Putin lets you go there. And unless these Ramzan Kadyrovs, these warlords, let you into their little fiefdom. And obviously the father, it turns out, Anzor Tsarnaev, his brother-in-law, meaning his wife's brother, has close ties to the security services of the Chechen leader Ramzan Kadyrov. And I'm telling you that the father got permission to go back there and live there and open up a business there by feeding his, by serving up his family. And that's how they probably got wind of the mother and the son and figured out that they were talking to somebody over there about jihad. Radical jihad. And the Russians knew this all along. And so when the breathless right-wing media starts reporting, and the other media too, because, I only heard like maybe a handful of people even ask the question, how did the Russians know about this kid and his mother in Hartford, Connecticut, or in Watertown, Massachusetts, Cambridge, Massachusetts? How did they even know about this family? And why were they allowed to go back and forth like they were on freaking vacation? Why?